Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Okay, so for this particular session, we will be looking at variation. I mean, my humble self, I'm Shito Gmolajide, aka Smoking Brain, and as usual, this program is brought to you by Fusion Mobile e-learning platform. So today we will be looking at variation. We're looking at the meaning, the types, the causes, and the applications. So, what is variation? Variation can basically be defined as the marked differences that are seen in a population. Again, variation can basically be defined as the marked differences that are seen in a population. Marked differences. Now, for a particular thing to be marked, it means it is obvious. It means it is loud. For a thing to be different, it means there is a contrast. It means there is a change. It means there is a deviation from the norm. Now, variation in all totality, as I've said earlier, is the marked differences, the individual differences, the obvious differences that are seen in a population. Now, what is population? Now, population in a biological context refers to the total number of a group of organisms residing in a particular area at a particular time. No, that cannot be the definition of population. Note, this is not economics. This is biology. And so, therefore, population can be defined as the total number of organisms of the same species. The total number of organisms of the same species are living in a particular area and at a particular time. Take note, it is actually number of the same species. The number of black rats only, the number of tilapia fishes only. It's not the combination of rat and tilapia fishes. Are you with me? So the differences that are seen in that population is called variation. The marked differences that are seen in a population. Okay, so now moving on. What are the types of variation? There are basically two types of variation. And what are they? They are now we have what we call morphological variation and what we call physiological variation. Now, morphological variation is also known as continuous. It's also known as continuous variation, while physiological variation is also known as discontinuous variation. And now, morphological variation is a kind of variation that is seen. It's a kind of variation that is expressed loudly. Now, what do I mean by being expressed loudly? It's a kind of variation that you see in the individual shapes. Morphological simply means it is an external variation. Or you see it. Immediately you come across that person, you notice the variation. And what are these variations? Like height, the height of a person. Oh, that guy is tall, that guy is short. And that talks about what? The morphological variation. Morphological variation are the external variations. Variations that are very, very visible and loud. And so, again, that's what we call morphological variation. Okay, so I take it again. Morphological variations are the external features that we get to see. The differences in the external features of living organism in a population is called morphological variation. Oh, this young man standing before you is short. Oh, I've seen another guy that looks like him, and that guy happens to be tall. Those are morphological variation. They are external. They are loud. They can be seen easily. Thank you very much. So those are morphological variation. Now they're also called continuous variation. Continuous variation in what sense? Does it mean those variations are heritable? Does it mean those variations are transferred from parent to progeny? Not in that sense. Now, it is continuous in the sense that there is a gradual change as regards to that attribute. Like, for example, now, the height of a particular person might be 6.0. You get to see another person is said to be like 6.1. So, there's a gradual change. It doesn't just change easily. It doesn't just change sharply. It can change from like 6.0 to 6.1. It can come at like 5.9. There's a gradual change as regards to that feature in a population. And that's how we say it is what continuous as regards to the graph. Are you doing? Now it is now. Okay. Now having established what morphological variations are, can we just look at the various examples? And now in plants, Morphological variation in plants are the height of the tree, the size of the leaf, the stem gets, among others. Now, can we also look at morphological variations in animals? In animals, morphological variation in animals. We see the shape of the nose. The shape of the nose. We see the height of the person. We see the length of the leg, the length, and basically those features are actually what the morphological features in animal. Oh, he has pot belly, the size of the tummy, oh, the shape of the ear, how long it is. Those are what morphological variations. Morphological variations again are continuous variations. They are external features, the difference in the external features of organisms in a population. They are loud, they can be easily seen. You don't have to take time to study them before you know. Now, what are physiological variations? Physiological variations are variations that are innate. They are from the inside. They are genetical. They are heritable. Are you with me? They are innate. They are genetical and they are heritable. Now, physiological variation is also known as discontinuous variation. It's a kind of variation that has to do with yes and no. You either have it or you don't have it. It has to do with yes and there is nothing like staying in between. It has no intermediate. There's nothing like, oh, my father is tall, my mother is short, and me, I'm now mid. I'm somehow tall, I'm somehow short. No, it doesn't have to do with that. Those are morphological. For physiological, there's no intermediate. You are either here or you are there. You are either intelligent or you are not intelligent. That's the way it is. You either know how to taste a particular chemical or you can't taste a particular chemical. You either have a particular fingerprint or you don't have it. You don't know how to roll your tongue or you cannot roll it. And those are what physiological variations. And so that's why we call them discontinuous variation. Now, what are the examples of physiological variation? And when you look at plants, you can talk about the color of the seed color. You can talk about the fruit color. The seed color, the fruit color, etc. And now when we talk about physiological variation in animals, in humans, so to speak, what are we talking about? We're talking about the ability of humans to taste PTC. What is PTC? Now, PTC is not parents-teacher commission. No, PTC is phenylthiocarbamide. PTC is phenylthiocarbamide. Now, this chemical, to some, it is bitter and tasteless. Again, this chemical, to some, it is bitter and tasteless. Why to some, it is what? Tasteless. This chemical, to some, it is bitter. It is bitter. Why to some, it is tasteless. Ability to taste phenylthiocarbamide. Fingerprinting is actually what? A physiological variation. Blood group. It's a what? A physiological variation. And so this is what we're going to do now. We're going to major more on the physiological variation, and we're going to delve into it, and we're going to be looking at different criteria. So can you just stay with me? Okay, so now we're going to be looking at physiological variation extensively in humans. What are their examples? One is this: ability to taste PTC. As I said earlier, PTC is phenylthiocarbamide. To some people, when they taste it, it is bitter. To some, it is tasteless. Another one is fingerprinting. Now, fingerprinting are basically divided into four. You either have arc, you either have loop, you either have wall, or you have double wall. You either have arc, you either have loop, you either have wall or double wall. Double wall is also known as what? Compound. It's also known as compound. So those are the what? The different types of what? Fingerprint. We also have what? Blood group. Blood group is a physiological variation. Now there are basically what? 4 blood groups. And we have blood group A, we have blood group B, we have blood group AB, and we have blood group what? O. Blood group A, blood group B, blood group AB, and blood group O. Blood group O is generally known as what? Is known as universal donor. Universal donor. Blood group O is known as what? Universal donor. Blood group AB is known as what? universal recipient. It's known as universal recipient. That means it can receive from all. It can receive from A, it can receive from B, it can receive from what? O, and it can receive from A, B as well. Again, blood group O is known as what? Universal donor. It can donate to all. A, B, and O. Are you with me? Blood group AB is a universal recipient. It can receive from all. Now, one thing is A cannot donate to B, but A can donate to AB. B cannot donate to A, but B can donate to AB. A can donate to A as well, A itself. A can donate to another A. B can donate to another B. B can donate to AB. A can donate to A can donate to AB. O can donate to any one of them. AB can receive from any one of them. Are you with me? O can only receive from O. O can only receive from O. So having established this fact, can we still take a look at some examples? Ability to roll the tongue. Ability to roll the tongue. Now to some people, it is not an easy task. It is a task that is so occult. Imagine rolling your tongue. To some people it's just easy, just bring your tongue. And rolling of tongue. To some they have to support it with their teeth. Therefore it not to go this way. And to some it's just a problem. It just cannot stand. So it's either you know how to do it or you cannot do it. There's no way you do it. So that's ability to roll the tongue. So those are what physiological variation. You either have it or you don't have it. You can't fight it. Now mind you, baldness. Baldness is a morphological variation. It is not a physiological variation. It's a morphological variation. However, it is sex-linked as well. But we would be looking at that as time goes on. So, ability to taste phenylcarbamide, fingerprinting, blood group, ability to roll the tongues. And do you know that there are some special people that can actually move their ears without moving their head? It is a physiological variation. I cannot try it. If I try it, I don't know what's... I just cannot move it. To some, they just stand their head, everything is standing, and this ear will be going up and down like that. And to some, they can stand and their chest will be moving like that. To some, their nose up and down like that. So if you are not like them, you cannot be like them. That is physiological variation. You either have it or you don't have it. So having established the meaning of variation, the types of variation and their other names are the various examples under these types. Now we would now be looking at the causes of variation. What are those factors that causes variation? Why does variation have a place to stay today in our community? Why is there variation in a population? And the answer is not far-fetched. There are basically two major factors responsible for what? Variation. There are basically two major factors that are responsible for variation. And what are these factors? Number one is what we call genetical differences. Number one is what we call genetical differences. What do I mean by genetical differences? I'm talking about the differences in the genetic makeup of an organism. As a matter of fact, no two individuals are exactly the same. No two individuals are exactly the same. There is bound to be differences. No matter how small it is, a difference is a difference. Are you with me? If it is not paracetamol, it cannot be paracetamol. So that's the way it is. So there is bound to be differences. And that's why no two individuals are exactly alike. So one of the factors causing variation is genetical differences. Another one is what we call environment. This young man standing here, if I happen to grow up in Singapore and you happen to grow up in Ajegunle, our behavior will be different. The way we respond will be different. The way we think will be different. There is bound to be differences morphologically. And even if we are not careful, there could be differences physiologically, since we are not even from the same parent. And that's why today, when you see somebody on the street of Lagos, anywhere in Nigeria, the way they talk, the way they behave, you can easily get to know where they are from. And that is variation exposing you. So basically, those factors are just two major factors. There are other factors as well, but one of them is called genetical differences. It could be gene recombination and all that, but we call it genetical differences. What the other one is what? The environment. These factors are so loud, and so great that their differences, their effects are felt in a population. I come again for the last time. There are basically two factors. Basically, I'm talking about the rudiment, the greater ones rather, that have greater contributing factors. One of them is what? Genetical differences. While the other one is what? Environment. The environment has a part to play. The way where you grew up, your parental care, your lifestyle, the people you get to meet with and all that, they have a part to play. They have a part to play. As a matter of fact, they determine the kind of variation that we get to see over time. And we have genetical differences as well. A change in the genetic makeup of an organism is called mutation. Now, genetical differences arises as a result of mutation. There are people you see today, they have 6 fingers. There are people you see today, and they have polydactyly. And when you see their some of them they have pentadactyly, different stuff like that. When you see their toes, like the middle toes might be joined together. And instead of them having like 5 toes, they will have like 4. So one is going to be very, very big, very visible, very bulky in nature. So those are also what as a result of what? Mutation. So we have been able to establish the causes of mutation. And I said one of them is what? Genetical differences. Genetical differences. Why the other one is what? Environment. Very, very loud. Environment. So lastly, we'll be looking at the applications of variation. Now these variations, what can we do with them? Of what importance are they to this present world? We're going to be looking at it critically, and I'm going to be listing out some. Okay, we will be looking at the various applications of variation. And the one is in detection of crime. You and I know today, in the global world, crime is greatly increasing. As a matter of fact, there is virtually no day that we would not record crime in this world. There is high number of people that are being murdered. There is arsonists here and there. There are explosions here and there. There are just a lot of things that are happening every day. And over the years, the knowledge of variation has helped us in fishing out the perpetrators of these crimes. Now, how do we get to know them? As I said earlier, no 2 individuals are exactly the same. Take note of the word, exactly the same. There is bound to be variation, no matter how little it is. No 2 individuals are exactly the same. And so, even with the help of CCTV camera and all that. Now, in a standard country, where database system is encouraged, where there is information about every citizen of the country, they have it on their system. The fingerprinting, the DNA, everything is there. Now, once you just get to a crime scene, what they do is this: they just look for traceable footsteps, and they look for fingerprinting here. And then once they pick it, they run it from their system, and they bring out the face of the person. That's what they were arresting. That is in a developed country. So the knowledge of variation has helped us in detection of crime. We get to know it by what? Fingerprinting. Fingerprinting helps us to know. The people that have arc wall and all that, they run it against the number of people in the country. And it brings out the possible number of people that have it. And what do? They check next. How many of them went to this particular area when the crime happened? And that's how they fish them out. That's how it is in detection of crime. Another one is in medicine. Variation has really helped us in medicine. It has helped us to develop many things in medicine. Another one is what we call in blood transfusion. Knowledge of variation, in particular blood group knowledge, is very, very important in blood transfusion. If you are, for example, a person with blood group A, you cannot donate to blood group B, but you can donate to blood group AB. So if there is no knowledge of blood group and your blood group A and you donate to blood group, there will be something we call clumping. And if he's not careful, the person will lose his or her life. They will be what we call clumping. The antigens, the antibodies will be clumping together. They will be fighting themselves. Instead of them to be complementary, it will now be antagonistic. That means they won't get to see one another face to face. They would want to like, okay, give me way, like that. At the end of the day, it might result in the loss of life. So this knowledge is very, very important. And that's why whenever you get to the hospital today, for example, you want to donate blood, the first thing they do is they do a kind of test for you to know your blood group, to see if the person you're donating to see if both of you are compatible. And so that's what in blood transfusion. Again, we have determination of paternity. Determination of paternity. This is actually a serious issue today, most especially in Africa, where you see a particular woman, she probably might be double dating, then as nature would have it, I can't say, as nature would have it, she gets pregnant and she gave birth to a bouncing baby boy, a boy that is bouncing. I wonder if ladies are not bouncing. So a bouncing baby boy. And now both parties came here and they're like, I'm the father. They're like, I'm the father. And you know it's not possible for them to share the child. It's not possible. What would they do? They just go straight to the hospital and determination of paternity test will be carried out. They can make use of their blood group instead of even making use of the DNA. The blood group. This is what they do. Okay, so when they get to the hospital, a solution will be preferred. Now let me create an analysis here. There is woman, she happens to have blood group A. Shadia. Shadia is, okay, I said a bouncing baby boy. So, Femi. Now, Femi happens to have blood group A. Now, the resulting child, which is Femi, has blood group AB. Femi has blood group AB. Now, two particular men came in and they're like, I'm the father. And now he say, no, I'm the father. One said, I bought Milo. I did this, I did that. Another one is saying, I bought complex. I did this, I did that. So how do we get to know the father? It's very, very easy. Now, the first man that came in, our first man has blood group O. The second man that actually came in, has blood group B. Now, look at this critically. Who do you think is going to be the father? It's very, very easy. Now, it is never possible for blood group O to interlink with blood group A and it will give you blood group AB. It's not possible. Instead, we have AO. It cannot give you AB. Are you with me? And so, basically, the issue is this. It is the second man that is the biological father of the child. Because when B links with A, the resulting child will have what? AB. So even when looking at this, you can get to know the father in question. A blood group O is not the father, but rather blood group what? B is the father. So the second man that came in that was actually complaining that he bought cornflakes and all that is the right father to that child. Are you with me? So as a matter of fact, the knowledge of variation helps us to solve plenty issues as regards to what? Paternity. Because this thing is actually a serious case. Hardly any street you get into and you hear records of paternity, all issues relating to it, and you be like, so this is actually happening. And so lastly, in agriculture. Now, one thing is this. Before now, there are some fruits that you cannot see except during a particular season. But the issue is there is actually no season again. We see fruit anytime, any day. So far, you have the money. And one thing is this. Do you know on a normal day, if a yellow plant gets interlinked with probably, a pink plant, there is actually a kind of plant that we tend to see. But now even the color of that plant can be changed. In agriculture now, we have plants that have greater resistance to environment, they have greater resistance to drought. Whenever a plant is produced and then the farmer discovers that this plant has nice characters, this plant has attractive characters, characters that are peculiar, characters that are unique, that have not been seen. What the farmer does is this, with the knowledge of variation, they extract that character and they put it in another plant. And that explains when you see a plant that usually before they have one particular color, you see them having another color now. So that's the knowledge of variation. You know, the world is fast evolving, things are happening, things are changing. And you can't afford to be at the last. You can't afford to be behind. So you need to be at the top of your game and just get everything done. So for real, it's been a nice time with you. Some questions will pop up on your screen. I'll try as much as possible to attempt it. Should you be having any issue with what has been taught so far, just go through the video. It is self-explanatory, explicit, and explosive. Thank you very much.